Sawadee krab, everybody, and welcome back to another trip report. Today I'm here at Bangkok's Suvarnabhumi International Airport. I just got dropped off by a Grab. I'm here at entrance 3, and today I'm going to be flying Philippine Airlines on board, I think, an Airbus A321 from here in Bangkok over to Manila, Philippine Airlines hub, and the capital of the Philippines. Okay, so as I said, just got dropped off by a Grab, which is the Uber equivalent here in Asia. So the domestic section is kind of just over there. Bangkok Suvarnabhumi Airport, there's no real different terminals, there's just different concourses. So check-in, you can get dropped off at the same place, it's just a matter of how far you walk. Now let's head inside and find the Philippine Airlines check-in. Welcome inside Bangkok Suvarnabhumi's departure hall. Opened in 2006, Bangkok Suvarnabhumi is Thailand's busiest airport, seeing about 460 daily flights to 141 airports across 53 countries. There's my flight, PR 731 to Manila. One thing that I love about this airport is the sheer amount of rare and interesting airlines that fly here, more than any other airport I've been to. Out of all of these airlines shown on the check-in boards, which one would you like me to try the most? Feel free to let me know in the comments. Whichever one gets the most likes, I'll try my best to get on. One day, no promises. Anyway, our check-in today is located at Section N, along with a few other airlines. Here at the approximately N20 check-in desk section, you can actually do self-service check-in here as well as online. And then you just got to go into the bag drop line as opposed to the regular economy class line. So yeah, anyways, let's use this, I guess, and check in. So many cool different airlines here, including Myanmar Airways International just there. Okay, so check-in has now been completed. I've got my boarding pass for the first flight. It asked me to get my boarding pass and I assume bag tags at the check-in desk, or bag drop desk rather. It's a pretty big line, but the kiosks are very good. You can very easily scan your boarding pass. It's quite simple, really. So now let's head through there to bag drop. Okay, check-in is completed along with bag drop. I've got both my boarding passes now, they just reprinted it. I think they would have done the exact same thing if you hadn't checked in online, or maybe one extra step, but I don't think it really matters all too much if you check in online or not. Anyways, I guess let's head this way to international departures and head through security. By the way, the check-in staff were friendly enough. Just quickly before security, I've taken the elevator up to level 6 to go to the observation deck. It's not super close, but you can get a very nice overlook over the airport, and I thought I'd just check it out. Over there you can see an EVA Air, EVA Air, old livery, 777. Pretty cool. There's also two Swiss Boeing 777-300s here. Also appears that most of the airline offices are up here. That's a lot of airlines. Just went through the automated boarding pass scanner. Very automated here at Suvarnabhumi Airport. Okay, so security has now been completed. Wow, I mean, it wasn't that long, but that took so much longer than I expected. I expected a smooth 5-minute security here at Suvarnabhumi Airport. No, it took half an hour, which, as I said, not too bad, but a lot more than I expected for an airport like Suvarnabhumi. So basically, the bag scanning and body scanner was pretty quick. Not very automated, however. I even had to take my shoes off. And I'm just wearing runners, so that's the first time I've ever had to do that. And I didn't think it would be at an airport like this. And then passport control was also not like there wasn't automated scanners. It was still face to face. So yeah, it definitely could be improved upon. Anyways, As I mentioned earlier, there's no terminals here. There's just different concourses. So Philippine Airlines, I believe, tend to operate from Concourse E. We have gate E2 today. So not that way, but rather down that way. Being one of the largest airports in Southeast Asia, there's so much duty-free, ranging from alcohol to Rolex. You should be able to find something if you're looking for it here. Okay, anyways, no lounge access today since Philippine Airlines aren't part of One World Star Alliance SkyTeam, so the only way is with Mabuhay Miles, which is their frequent flyer program. You need to have premium status with that, or if you're travelling in business class, and I'm doing neither today. Anyways, let's head down to the gate. I found my favourite part of any airport, except for the planes, of course. As for getting to this airport, the cheapest and quickest way is via the airport rail link, taking a little over 25 minutes and costing 45 Thai baht, or about $2, taking you straight from the Phaya Thai station. There's also plenty of taxis and grabs available, taking around 40 minutes and costing about 400 Thai baht, or $18. Now, while we do some plane spotting, please allow me to tell you a bit about Philippine Airlines, or PAL for short. Fasten your seatbelts or skip to the next chapter because this is a long but interesting one. PAL itself was founded in 1941, making it the first commercial airline in Asia and the flag carrier of the Philippines. Unfortunately, not long after starting, PAL had to pause operations during World War II, using its aircraft for military use during this time. After its only 2 aircraft got destroyed in the war, the airline restored operations in 1946 with 5 DC-3s. Fast forward to 1960, PAL acquired its first jet airliner, a Boeing 707. By 1979, PAL was growing fast, adding the 727, 747 and A300 to its fleet. Come the 1990s, PAL had a reputation as a premier airline and one of Asia's largest, flying as far as North America, Europe and Australia. Then came 1997 and the Asian financial crisis. That, along with too many planes and unprofitable routes, hit the airline hard. In late 1998, due to a mix of layoffs and disputes, PAL suspended operations altogether for 2 weeks. Meanwhile, Cathay Pacific took over operations and showed interest in a stake in the airline. Come year 2000, PAL entered a rehabilitation process. In its first year of rehab, after 6 years of losses, PAL returned to profitability and restored many of its suspended routes. Mabuhay Miles was formed shortly after in 2002. In 2005, still in receivership, PAL signed for some A320 family aircraft to ramp up domestic operations following competition. Starting in late 2006, PAL also ordered some Boeing 777s instead of 747s to start renewing its wide-body fleet. Finally, in 2007, PAL exited receivership. Soon after, PAL launched its regional subsidiary, PAL Express. In 2008, for reasons I'm unaware of, the FAA downgraded PAL's safety category from 1 to 2, making PAL unable to expand flights to the US. And in 2010, along with all Filipino carriers, PAL was placed on the EU blacklist, which lasted until 2013. In 2012, under new management, PAL ordered 54 new Airbus aircraft consisting of A321ceos, A321neos, A330-300s, and continued to expand with new routes. In 2014, PAL retired their last 747. Shortly after, under new management, PAL announced intentions to acquire more 777s and either A350s or 787s to replace their A340s. In 2016, they started a new campaign called The Heart of the Filipino, and that slogan remains today. The campaign was intended to sort of bring PAL back to its former glory, with new planes, new routes, and new service. The airline soon ordered 6 A350-900s, announced live flight beds on their A321neos, and started reconfiguring their 414 single-class A330s to a modern 3-class configuration. This seemed like quite an ambitious goal, but from my understanding it was going quite well. By 2018, PAL had started receiving their A350s and received 2 awards for being a 4-star airline, as well as an award for the most improved airline. But then things seemed to come to a halt. I think that we're going to be delayed. I would assume we're going to be delayed a bit because we were supposed to start boarding 10 minutes ago and the plane arrived as we were supposed to start boarding. So I'm expecting about a 20 to 30 minute delay. I believe in 2019 a bit of cost cutting begun, then came COVID. This caused PAL to suspend operations multiple times throughout the year, cut flights, staff and planes. By the end of the year, PAL reported a net loss of 73 billion Philippine pesos, or over 2 billion Australian dollars. In 2021, PAL filed for bankruptcy protection and reduced its fleet by 22 and postponed orders. At the end of 2021, PAL's parent company returned to profit. More recently, in June 2023, PAL ordered 9 A350-1000s, and in the first half of 2023, PAL reported a net income of 13.6 billion pesos. Wow, what a long, interesting history. Do you enjoy these parts of my videos? Let me know in the comments below. Sorry about that. Moving on to our plane for today. Our ride to Manila will be Romeo Papa, Charlie 9905, a 2013 built A321-231 equipped with sharklets and IAE engines. This is one of 18 A321ceos in PAL's fleet, alongside 8 A321neos. Those some are parked.
Boarding, and to avoid traffic at the cabin, you may voluntarily surrender your hand luggage here at the boarding gate counter. The luggage will be tagged to your final destination.
That sounded very ominous.
Salamat.
There's some passengers surrendering their baggage.
Approximately 10 minutes. Please use this time to prepare yourself and gather your belongings loaded. Please be reminded of Philippine Airlines boarding procedures. First to board are passengers who require special assistance. Please prepare only your boarding pass, scan the barcode onto a self-boarding machine, and pass through the gate one passenger at a time. Thank you. Thank you for waiting. Philippine Airlines flight PR731 bound for Manila is now ready for boarding. First to board are passengers requiring special assistance. This flight will be boarded.
After some passengers had surrendered their bags, soon enough it was time for boarding, just shy of 40 minutes late. Upon stepping on board, I noticed that the cabin smelled nice and was kept at a nice cool temperature. Thank you. After a relatively friendly welcome from most of the crew and a particularly friendly one from one of them, welcome aboard the Philippine Airlines A321ceo. First off, you'll find 12 business class seats in a 2-2 layout spread across 3 rows. Hello. There's a total of 187 economy class seats in a standard 3-3 configuration, with these first few rows here being extra legroom, I believe. My seat for today will be 45 Alpha. It's on the right side of the aircraft when boarding from the front. A lot of Asian airlines number seats on narrow bodies like this, so that if they swap it to or from a wide body, they don't have to change everyone's seats, which actually did happen to me today. I'll explain more later. Welcome on board the Philippine Airlines A321ceo, seat 45A. Now let's go through the seat features. First off, the width on this aircraft is about 18 inches, which is standard across all Airbus narrowbodies, and is actually pretty good, as it's better than the 737. Legroom on this aircraft is just average at 30 inches or 76 centimetres, keeping in mind I'm 5'1", which is okay for a 3-hour flight, but from a full-service airline on a plane that operates longer flights, this is the least I would expect. Then there's a standard seat back pocket containing the safety card and a sick bag. Then here you have another very standard tray table, which you can pull down, and there's a cup slot, but it's not foldable. There's no IFE or device holder or anything. When I looked into it, apparently there is supposed to be some sort of streaming entertainment, but I was never made aware of this on the flight, and I'm not sure that it actually was there. There's also no coat hook to be seen. Then here you've got an adjustable headrest, which is firm, and you can move up, down, and adjust the sides. Here you have an overhead panel, which does contain individual air vents, which is not found on some newer aircraft. And that's about it for the Philippine Airlines A321ceo seat features. They're very basic, but they're comfortable enough for a 3-hour flight. It would be nice if there was a USB outlet or something like that, however. But for a 3-hour flight, it'll do.
Our heartfelt thanks to our Mabuhay milers for your continued patronage to our flight carrier. I'd like to welcome you aboard Philippine Airlines flight PR731 bound for Manila. We would like to apologize for the delay due to late arrival turnaround of this aircraft, and we do apologize. Anyway, our flight time to Manila is almost 3 hours. We will be climbing through our cruising altitude of 33,000 feet. We are expecting cloudy weather during the flight. Our estimated arrival time to Manila right now is 10 minutes past 6 in the afternoon. I'll update you with the latest arrival information as we get closer to our destination. Thank you. Have details of PR731 patungong Manila. Mabuhay! Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino, welcomes you on board PR731 bound for Manila, Philippines. Push the ends together. To tighten, pull loose end of the strap. To loosen, tilt buckle and pull. To unfasten belt, lift up a buckle, pull free ends to release. Once again, welcome to Philippine Airlines.
About 35 minutes after boarding, it was time to start up the engines via an ASU, I believe.
For takeoff. Crew takeoff stations, please.
About 45 minutes late, it's now time for takeoff using runway 19 right. As we make our way to cruising altitude, the cabin crew came around with arrival cards.
The crew shall temporarily take on their assigned seats. Continue to observe the seatbelt signs alert throughout the flight. Once again, please take your seats and refrain from using the lavatories.
The cabin crew came around about 45 minutes after takeoff with 2 cards. The option for today's lunch was fish rice or chicken noodle. This was served alongside a choice of soft drinks, wine and juice, with tea and coffee to follow. I opted for the fish rice because the chicken noodles had already run out. This was served alongside a bread roll, a cake for dessert, and a cold noodle salad. Underneath the bread there was butter, a sanitary wipe and a cutlery set. Overall, a very good portion for a 3-hour flight with Philippine Airlines. Having said that, this sort of portion for a 3-hour flight in Southeast Asia is pretty common. The plastic cutlery was nice and firm and wasn't one of those ones that if you try to pick up anything other than rice, feels like they're gonna break. The bread roll was solid, it was wholemeal and a bit sweet, probably the best part of the meal. The dessert cake was pretty okay. I will say that I hope Philippine Airlines improves the amount of reusable stuff that they use for their catering. As for the rest of the food, the fish rice was edible but very average, relatively bland. It would have been nice if there was a sauce or something, because it was alright but it just didn't taste like a whole lot. I didn't enjoy the noodle salad very much. It was pickled or something like that, and that's just not my kind of thing. It also could have just been a lot of vinegar for dressing. If you like that sort of thing though, then it could be alright. We're now flying right over Phuket Airport. A few minutes after we passed the coast of Vietnam, the cabin crew came around with tea, coffee and water. At that point it was about 40 minutes after the meal service started. Right as I got served, the seatbelt sign was switched on due to a bit of turbulence. Thank you. By the way, the tea was pretty good, and the apple juice that I had earlier was sweet and tasted a little weird. Still alright though. After I finished my meal, I went for a little bit of a walk and checked out the extra legroom seats on the exit. This is the fantastic legroom at 61 kilo, just waiting for the toilet. By the way, the cabin was very quiet aside from plane noises throughout the flight. Also, here's the recline situation, which is very limited.
On the west side of Manila, in about 3 minutes we shall begin our descent. Based on latest weather report, we are expecting partly cloudy weather at Manila. Light wind, ground temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. We estimate arrival time will be at 6:25 this evening, local time Manila, and time now for convenience is 5:38. Thank you for choosing to fly Philippine Airlines, the heart of the Filipino. Mabuhay. Thank you for your cooperation and wish you a nice day in Manila.
Welcome to the Philippine Airlines A321ceo loop review. First impressions, I'm surprised. It's quite wide. I mean, it's an A321, so it's better than a 737, but it's not badly sized, especially for a narrow body. There's nice flooring. It's relatively clean. Got hand wash. I don't know what cologne, and I'm guessing that's lotion or something. Paper cups, though I don't think there is any. Baby change table. Trash bin, of course. A lack of tissues. A very nice sized basin with soap, of course. And a coat hook. So overall, I would say that it's a pretty good movie. In fact, except for the stock, I'm quite impressed with it for an narrow-body loop. Anyways, descending in a few minutes, let's head back to the seat. As the descent starts, cabin crew coming around with water. Down there you can start to see the Philippines. Would love to visit the Philippines one day.
The seatbelts are right, during the please no. Window shades open, and your seatbelts securely fastened.
As we start our beautiful, very stormy approach into Manila's Ninoy Aquino International Airport, allow me to conclude today's flight with Philippine Airlines. Before we get into the flight itself, it's worth mentioning that the plane for today's flight was changed at least 4 times, originally being a refurbished A330-300. There are some other issues with PAL less related to this flight, which I will cover in my connecting flight review, so be sure to stay tuned for that. My journey today started at Bangkok Suvarnabhumi International Airport, where check-in was average and there was a somewhat long line. Security was fine, and airside I found the airport to have a lot of natural light and plenty of shops to buy from. After boarding a bit late, I stepped on board this A321ceo. First impressions were crew were pretty friendly and the cabin looked basic but comfy enough, which is the best way to explain the seat features. After takeoff, the lunch service started, which was good portion-wise and was just okay taste-wise. I believe the chicken noodles tasted better than the fish rice I had. With no entertainment available to me, there wasn't much to do but look at the sunset, which was fine by me. As we now approach Stormy, Manila, I have to say that overall this flight was just okay. Basically what I expected from Philippine Airlines. All of the crew were pretty friendly, with one in particular being very friendly, and the rest was just okay as expected for the price. On this exact route, you have the option of Filipino low-cost carrier Cebu Pacific, who fly twice daily. Thai Airways also flies once daily, normally on a 787-8. I flew their A350, which has a similar cabin to the 787, so feel free to check that out. And there's of course Philippine Airlines with 3 daily flights, 2 on the A321, and the same one that we took today could be anything from the A321 to a 777. From Don Muang Airport, you can also fly Philippines AirAsia. If you don't mind leaving from Don Muang, and you're looking for a cheap way to get from A to B, then I think AirAsia is definitely a solid option. I've flown both AirAsia Malaysia and AirAsia Indonesia, and they were both basic but great flights. The price of PAL is on par with Thai Airways. If the morning Thai Airways flight works for you, I'd say that's the best option, though PAL isn't a bad choice at all. I don't have any experience with Cebu Pacific, though I hear they're actually quite good, but extremely cramped. Well, that's about it for the conclusion of today's trip report. Once again, stay tuned for the connecting flight review. That's one you don't want to miss. I'd like to take this time to thank every one of you watching my videos, my Patreons of course, and everyone that has liked or subscribed. It annoys me too when YouTubers ask you to like and subscribe, but it genuinely helps out a ton with the algorithm, allowing me to make more enjoyable content for you all. You don't have to, but if you're enjoying the content I'm putting out, I hope you'll consider it. Anyways, now enjoy the rest of the approach into Manila.
local time is 20 minutes past the hour of 6 in the evening. The ground temperature is 30 degrees Celsius or 86 degrees Fahrenheit. Please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until the seatbelt signs is switched on. Alberto Segment Jr. and the rest of the crew. Thank you for flying Philippine Airlines. Mabuhay at maraming salamat po. Passengers, please remain seated while the crew perform the cross-checking of the doors. Please remain seated.
It's a very long process to shut down the aircraft and get everyone off. I think the APU might not be working. Thank you, see ya. Bye-bye. Okay, so welcome to Manila. I think since I have a pretty tight connection, oh, there's a Charmin 737, I'm getting distracted. But since I have a tight connection, it's probably about time for me to finish up today's trip report. First of all, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video. Also, I did live updates on my Instagram today, along with basically all of my other flights, so you can check that out also at aviation763_. Last but most certainly not least, thank you to all of my incredible Patreons who help to make these videos possible. Support is so much appreciated, and I couldn't do what I do without them, so thank you so much to them. I keep getting distracted. Anyway, once again, thank you all for watching. I hope you have an amazing day, and I look forward to hopefully seeing you in my next one.
Thank you for flying Philippine Airlines. Mabuhay at maraming salamat po.